My final guest is one of the truly great names of cinema. As an actor in more than 50 movies, he's brought to the screen a distinctive style which Richard Burton once described as dynamic lethargy. As a director of films like The Unforgiven and his latest movie, Mystic River, he can claim comparison with the very best. Ladies and gentlemen, Clint Eastwood. There are very few who get that kind of reception, you have to know.
Well, after listening to Ben out there, and he's very glib and fast, yeah, that dynamic lethargy thing is maybe not going to make it here.
We'll talk about that in a minute. I mean, it's interesting to see that reception you've got and to understand that you are this wonderful man of cinema, and for 50 years you've proved yourself a huge star and a great director and all that sort of thing. And to imagine that when you first started, there were a couple of studio bosses who actually didn't think much to you. I mean, you were told you squinted too much. You were told that your voice was too soft, and they said, you'll never make a star.
And they were correct.
Well, they were right.
All of those things. The squinting thing, they thought, everybody thought that was affecting for some particular role, but I just have sensitive eyes to the sunlight at all. And you have the same thing. We all, not him.
No, he's perfect and beyond reproach.
Exactly. The sunlight actually shines out of me.
It does.
If I can make Clint squint, it's just...
Let's talk about this this new film that you've made called Mystic River, which you've directed from the novel by Dennis Lehane. I've seen it twice now. I think it's just a very remarkable piece of work. And I read the New York Times, which no doubt you did this morning. I got it sent from America, the review of it. Well, I mean, to say it's a rave review is to make the understatement of the year. When you saw the project, first of all, it was a novel, was it? That's how you came across it? And what was it that made you want to film it?
Well, actually, I came across it as a synopsis. I read the synopsis in a newspaper, and then so I went out and got the novel. Also, I had been familiar with Dennis Lehane. He wrote some detective stories, a series of detective stories over recent years, and but this was a whole different thing for him. This was a whole breakthrough novel, and I liked the story very much, and the way it was designed, and so I bought it. I said, I've got to do it.
What was it about the book itself that attracted you?
Well, it's a terribly emotional story, and there's something about the fact that you got this emotional sort of tragic story going along, and simultaneously with that you've got a detective story where they're trying to unravel it, and the two elements are sort of converging towards each other, and it's tough to explain really without, because it's a very complicated story, so you're just all going to have to see it.
But it's a great drama, isn't it? That's what it is.
Yeah, it's a great drama, and it was a challenge to do it, and at this stage in my life, I'm always looking for the challenge.
What about the studios? Were they equally enthusiastic? Because you see, this is a film that goes against the trend.
I think that the demographics are always looked at. So they say, what is the average theater-going age? I don't know what it is myself, but just guessing, say it's 12 to 18 or something like that. So let's got to make shows for 12 to 18-year-olds. I happen to think that 16, 17, 18-year-olds might enjoy this kind of a story, but they don't really get the opportunity very often because most things are geared around the action crowd or things that and special effects are so wonderful nowadays. They're done so well that they become the motor factor for doing a movie. The effects drive it, so the story has become secondary, where in the old days the story was primary, and then everything else sort of fit on top.
And that's always been your benchmark, the story, isn't it? That's really what you're interested in telling the tale.
Well, I think that's, it is for me anyway. I figure without the story, there's really no use in being out there.
All the actors in it are without exception, wonderful. But Sean Penn's performance is one of the great piece of screen acting I've seen in recent years. I think it's as good as that.
Well, I think he's an extraordinary young man. He's done an awful lot of good performances. He's rated very high on American cinema acting, or cinema or theater, and he's better than he's rated. And Tim Robbins and Kevin Bacon and Lawrence Fishburne. I just had a dream crew, actually, and Laura Linney and Marcia Gay Harden I'd worked with before, so I knew how great they were.
But when you with this central performance, which dominates the film in a sense, because it centers around this man's grief and the effect it has on him, it's extraordinary, amazingly powerful performance. You as a director, when you see that coming at you, I mean, what part do you play with it? What's your job? Yeah.
Well, the main thing is to try not to screw it up. You know, just kind of when people come in and they're well prepared, and these people all were. You just main thing is you set a nice atmosphere so everyone doesn't get their adrenaline up too early, and then we start the scenes out.
When you look at the film now, what do you make of it? Is it too soon for you to have a judgment
Well,
on it?
I don't make anything.
You don't?
Well, for me, it's very difficult because I've shot the film last fall. Here we are this fall, and now I've edited throughout the year and done all that sort of thing. So I've looked at it so many times that I don't really. It's not for me to really talk about or think about much anymore. I just kind of present it out there, and now it's the child that's grown up, and it's time to go leave home.
I think that, from my own point of view, that if The Unforgiven was a masterpiece, then I think that this is equally so. I think that they're just two great defining films in your career.
Well, your lips to God's ear, I think.
But what about the business yourself of acting? Because you've directed this movie, and you're backing off, aren't you, doing directing and acting in the same movie?
Well, I've been considering it. It's at some point it's kind of ridiculous. I started in 1970. The only way I could get the film made
That's Play
was
Misty.
Play Misty for me. The only way I could get it made was to be in it, and so then later I figured, well, if I can do this successfully for one or two films, maybe I'll be able to move around behind the camera. And then, of course, one thing led to another, and then 33 years later, I'm still doing it. So, but now I'm kind of moving towards the back.
It's also, too, I mean, what's interesting about your career in movies, and you've done it in this film as well, I mean, you've written the music as well.
Well, I write out the themes for some movies. I did Bridges in Madison County and Unforgiven, and they're just things that I think fit the picture. I'm sort of driven by the movie and the involvement in the movie.
But music is your passion, and was your passion before acting, wasn't it?
Well, I loved it. As a kid, I played a little bit, and I played a little bit of a lot of things. A master of none, jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing. I played the piano for a while, and then I played the trumpet for a while.
What kind of venues were you playing in? Were you playing in clubs and
Well,
dives?
when I was I started out playing the piano in assemblies at school and stuff, because it was a way to meet girls. And I thought it was good. So when I found out that, I went home and started practicing really hard. And then finally, I did. I beat around Oakland, California, and I did play in one nightclub I used to frequently drop in, because they would supply me with pizza and anything that they served up there, all for free, and I'd put the old cup on the piano, and once in a while somebody put a quarter in it. Rarely.
And acting came out after that, and again, I mean, the road was interesting. I mean, you went through Rawhide, which was in many ways your acting school, wasn't it? And your directing school and your producing school too, because you learned in 7 years and that a lot.
Well, that's the first steady job I had. I had quite a few years where I didn't have steady jobs, and I would kind of beat around jobs and play little bits here, little bits there, and go on different television shows. And then Rawhide was a steady job where you get to go to work every day. So that was great fun. And then I expected a layoff after the series was terminated, and then I ended up getting lucky with this Italian films with Sergio Leone, and that sort of then one thing led to another there, and then pretty soon
Dirty Harry and all that. It's extraordinary.
So here I am, all those years later, still hanging out.
But that begs the question, why?
Why what?
Why are you still alive?
Why are you still hanging out?
I mean, the
Well,
question
there's
is,
nothing else to do.
what's the reason for your
Michael
longevity?
Parkinson's.
That's right.
I just like it. I think every movie that you do, there's always something to learn. There's always something new to learn about yourself, about acting, about entertainment. And so as long as you're learning something, it's a pleasure to do it. It's a great opportunity. I think it's a great opportunity to be able to work in a profession that you actually enjoy. And a lot of people don't get that opportunity. And I always feel extremely sympathetic because of that. I've been lucky, so I've fallen into doing what I want to do.
What about this description by Richard Burton of your acting style as dynamic lethargy? You must have pondered this an awful lot over the years.
Well, I don't think Richard pondered it too much. He was great for coming up with little sayings. I think he was always fascinated by the minimalist acting that is sometimes popular on American cinema. I know he was a big fan of Robert Mitchum's and some of Robert Mitchum's early work. And Gary Cooper, there's a whole history of actors who were pretty darn good, but they definitely didn't show their hand any more than they had to. So, and as technical things improved, as television improved and everything, you could be more minimal. It seemed like people would become more interested in what you were doing if you weren't just throwing it at them. If you made the audience sort of meet you halfway.
But it also, I mean, I suppose it's part of your personality too, because you are that sort of introverted person, aren't you, basically? Or would I be?
Well, I thought I was being very extroverted.
The camera captures that. There's something about the loner about you. There's something about that which the camera captures.
I think the camera captures a lot if you allow it to. Once you get to the point, and of course acting is very easy for children. Children do it naturally because they can throw themselves into a role and forget that you're even standing around watching them. And then, of course, they ask you to do that when you're an adult. It's very difficult because you're going, oh, I don't want to see all those people out there and this and a camera, you throw this big camera in your face. But once that you realize that people aren't unfriendly and the camera isn't unfriendly, then you can concentrate on what you're doing.
Well, what about the actors that you've admired? I mean, Cagney was one, wasn't it, that you admired?
Yeah, when I was growing up, I thought James Cagney. I thought he was he was. I loved his boldness. There was a certain thing, a certain boldness in his performances. He didn't seem to care. He wasn't reaching out and asking the audiences to like him or what have you. He played in The White Heat, of course, one of his famous pictures. He shoots a guy through the trunk while he's eating a chicken leg, and he's doing all these kind of things. And I thought, this guy has a lot of nerve. I said, I'd like to have that kind of nerve. But
well, my favorite actor is James Stewart. I mean, I love James Stewart.
Well, he's a very good guy.
But he's all that, isn't he? He's a wonderful actor.
He was a wonderful actor and a great person. And you know something, he was terrific. Nobody ever thought he could do westerns. They thought he was, you know, all those more gentle roles in the Philadelphia Story and what have you. But then all of a sudden he did them, and they found out that there was a certain inner fury to him.
Yes.
He played the man who gets angry just about as good as anyone.
That's
and so
right.
then they
Sure
started
did.
utilizing
Frightening,
that.
in fact, because he was
Because of that.
Because he was
so
so
unexpected.
gentle looking.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a decent bloke losing it, wasn't
really
it? That's
lost
really
it,
what
yeah.
it was.
I think he was every man getting mad as hell and not going to take it anymore.
The other nice thing, because I'd interviewed him a couple of times, did a couple of one-man shows with him, what I liked about him too, and it's something I admire in you as well, is that you've been this big star, and yet you don't behave like this big star. You don't have the entourage, do you? You don't have the limos and all that bit.
You're
So you
absolutely
do.
right. I don't have. They did pick me up in a car, though there was a
BBC
decent
limo.
one. Yeah, the BBC. They sent down a Hummer or something. It was a nice vehicle, and yeah, no, we don't need entourages, and car, whatever gets you there.
Was there ever a point in your career though, where in fact you believed all of it, the stardom and all that, and it affected you?
I don't think so. I think there's, you always have to, you take the work seriously. I guess I used this as my first day when I was mayor of Carmel, too. I said, let's take the work seriously, but for God's sake, let's not take ourselves seriously.
Yeah.
And that's where you get in a bind, is when you start taking yourself seriously, then you're in for deep trouble. I think, maybe not deep trouble, a lot of people can fake through and do their life, but it's not really enjoyable, I don't think.
You didn't, when you were mayor of Carmel, have any ambition to go on like Mr. Schwarzenegger now and take over the state?
No, I didn't. In fact, because I had a prior political office, a lot of people on this recall thing suggested running, and I said, not with somebody else's body. And we're going to, and then when Arnold Schwarzenegger got into the act, it was interesting to watch how he does. I mean, how he conducted himself in the campaign. He seemed to do rather well.
But it's an almost impossible job if you look at it. I mean, it's so broke, California, isn't it?
There's going to be disappointment because they've all, well, this is it. You say he's rich, but it seems to me that there's been an awful lot of talk about, well, California is broke and Schwarzenegger is incredibly rich and, you know, so he knows a bit about money, but he made his money playing action heroes in movies. That's not going to work for the 7th largest economy in the world. I mean, a state can't do that.
It was the 5th largest, but it dropped real quick. It's an impossible situation. He's going to have to do a lot of work. I wish him a lot of luck. He's a smart guy. He'll probably surround himself with a lot of really good money managers and people who maybe can put him on the road to success, but then he has to work with a legislative branch that is not the same party he's in, so he's going to have to be a consensus builder. Every decision you make is going to make a lot of people unhappy and some people happy, and so you just go. I've done it on a small venue, and I know what it's like. But you have to kind of set your mind for it. It's a tremendous amount of work, and he'll find out what it's all about soon enough.
But you'd rather play golf, wouldn't you? What are you playing off now? What's your handicap?
12.
12?
Yeah.
That's very good.
I can't get it down into single digits because I unfortunately do other things. But I love doing it. It keeps you off the streets, you know.
Yeah, it keeps you out of the mayor's office and that sort of thing.
It keeps you from running for governor.
Absolutely, yeah, that's right. Can I just ask you a couple of final questions? They were talking about families here, because you've now got a new family, haven't you? You've got a young wife, and of course you've got a 6-year-old daughter. I
have a 6-year-old daughter, which keeps you young, or else makes you prematurely old. I'm not sure. We'll have to figure out which it is. But no, she's great, and my wife and I've got a 10-year-old. I've got a few children that are around, and they do keep you young and keep you interested in things, and I want to spend more time with them. That's one of the reasons I'm maybe cutting back on work.
Yeah, it gives you a sort of second chance, doesn't it, fatherhood in a sense. I mean, the time that you were spending your father first up, you're busy, as we all are. Your career comes, and you stand back, and next thing you know, you're a granddad.
Well, you know,
but it's true.
My kids weren't giving me grandchildren, so I had my own grandchildren. But it's a great time. Actually, if people could work it right, but it doesn't work that way, and it doesn't, especially for women. But if everybody could have their careers and everything first, and then have children when they're maybe in their 60s or something, and then they could relax and just enjoy the family.
I can ask you also, too, because Ben Out wanted me to ask this question. What's it like to be a sex symbol at 73? He wants to know because, you know, it won't
I'm
long
hoping
before.
to age as gracefully as you. You still have to play the piano to pull the misses. Was it the piano that did that, or?
Well, that doesn't romance her. She's callous to that, especially playing A Small World or some little children's tune, which I'm relegated to these days.
Okay, well, look, as I said, I think the film was, I hope it's going to be a big hit, because, I mean, I think it's the kind of film that, you know, grown-up people don't get to see anymore. And I think you could be very, very proud of it. I really do.
Thank you.
And thank you very much indeed for being my guest tonight. Clint Eastwood. My thanks to Clint Eastwood, to Ben Elton, Jennifer Saunders and Sheryl Crow. Next week, my guests are Billy Connolly, Pamela Stevenson, Michael Caine and R.E.M. Until then, very good night. Good night.
Hello, this is Andrew Denton. You've just seen Michael Parkinson doing what he does best, interviewing people, but what's he like when he's the one being interviewed? It's a fascinating question, and the answer can be found on Monday night at 9:30 on the ABC on Enough Rope, when my very special guest is, yes, Mr. Michael Parkinson. See you then.